Good afternoon and welcome back to our first official cooking video. The last video I did was just kind of an introduction of who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So today we're actually going to be making something. We're going to prep some breakfast burritos. Each breakfast burrito is about, I have it written down here, 226 milligrams of sodium. In the breakfast burrito we have 2 eggs. It's a flour tortilla, 2 eggs, peppers, onions, a little bit of cheddar cheese, and a little bit of skirt steak. So I pre-measured everything. I have everything to go. I also did promise in my introduction video that I'm going to show you some of my favorite items, cooking gadgets, and products. So my first thing is my Kirkland Costco EVOO. I love Costco, so I will be using my Kirkland Costco EVOO. I do have generic half and half, and I do vary between generic and different products, name brands. A big factor, I read the ingredients and I read the labels and I look for low sodium. So if the generic has lower sodium than a name brand, I'm going to go with the generic. Unless it's a product that I really prefer the name brand, but for half and half, I'm using the generic. I got wonderful Christmas gifts this year. One of them was some Penzeys spices. This is the salsa and pico. In it is shallots, cumin, garlic, black pepper, Mexican oregano, paprika, cilantro, jalapeno pepper, and chipotle pepper. However, if you don't have that, I make up my own taco seasoning. Simple, simple, simple. No sodium in the Penzeys and no sodium in this. This is chili powder, cumin, onion powder, and garlic. It is a tablespoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of onion powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. You could add sodium in it, but since we are trying to cook lower sodium, we don't add the sodium and you don't mess it. Some of the things that sodium does, if you lower your sodium intake, you lower your blood pressure. Lowering your blood pressure helps the heart. So low sodium is a good thing. We as Americans eat, I believe it's 3,400 milligrams of sodium a day, and really should be 2,000-ish or below. So typically our diet, we eat about anywhere between 700 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day, typically. There are days we splurge. And one of the other things I wanted to say before we get cooking is what you get is what you see. I'm not here to impress you. I'm not here to show you that I'm the best cook ever and I have these pretty dishes. I might have a pretty dish. I might have an ugly dish. What matters is the taste, and what matters is that I'm showing you how to make everyday dishes lower sodium. It may also not be the healthiest dish out there. We try to balance. Balance is key to keeping a diet or a healthy lifestyle for the long term. So today I am using flour tortillas. I am making homemade flour tortillas. A flour tortilla in the store has almost the most sodium that we could have for the day. So I found a recipe and I just omit the salt. However, you know, would it be healthier to use a different type of tortilla, corn tortilla? Yes. And we do use corn tortillas sometimes, and we do frittatas and other breakfast dishes, but this is one thing that I found that I can prep, I can freeze, and I can pop in the oven at a later time. So we are really liking these breakfast burritos. So let's get started. I already cooked up our skirt steak. This is about 1 ounce for the 2 of us. I have a 1/2 ounce of shredded cheddar cheese. I shredded, better, healthier if you do it. It is a little bit clumpier because in the store they add powder so it doesn't clump, and that's why I shred my own. There's a half a ounce for that for both of us, and there's about a 1/4 cup of veggies for both of us. So let me get started and show you one of my favorite kitchen gadgets. This is my Pampered Chef chopper. Let me just straighten out the video camera here. So I roughly chopped my peppers and onions. And this can be loud, so I'm going to try to talk above it. But just a couple pumps like that, and you have diced vegetables. Super, super easy, super fast. And one more. So that's all there is to it, chopping up your veggies. Again, one of my favorite things. So with this dish, we are also going to do 4 eggs. Oops, and I see that I missed an onion. We can't have missed onion. We need all the onion flavor in there. So there we go. So that's the veggies. We'll put the cheese and the steak there too. I have 4 eggs, so that would be 2 eggs a piece. And I also have my half and half. 1 serving of half and half is 2 tablespoons. I use 2 tablespoons for 4 eggs, so we get a half a serving. So 25 milligrams of sodium for 2 tablespoons, so we're each getting about 12.5 milligrams of sodium. So let me flip the camera here, and let's see if I can just flip it to our stove top. I grew up with a gas stove, so having an electric stove is really taken some getting used to. It's fine. It's not my favorite. I would prefer gas, but I don't have that option. We live in a condo and the building is gas free, so so I have a little bit of EVOO in here. I'm heating that up. And then, back this up, I also have my cast iron skillet right here. So I'm going to turn that on as well. I have already rolled out, and I will show you when we flip the camera again, but I will bring the 2 that I have rolled out, 2 tortilla shells. So with that, so I made 6 tortilla shells. It's 1 cup of flour, half a cup of warm water, and a 1/4 cup of EVOO, no salt. And then I have a scale that I absolutely love, again, Pampered Chef. I took that out and I weighed my dough and I divided it into 3 even sections, and I formed 6 flour tortillas. So when that heats up, I will be putting that on, and all you do, no oil, no nothing. There's oil already in the flour tortilla. So I just take that out and put it in the cast iron skillet, and it's going to start to bubble, and you flip it, and that is all there is to making it. I mean, it's boom, boom, and it's done. So cooking doesn't have to be hard. I will say this involved a little bit of prep that, the chopping, the cutting, the prepping the dough. The dough does take 7 minutes in the mixer, so there is a little bit of time consuming factor in it, but overall, I'm gonna have 3 breakfasts for us. And you could even make that on a grander scale and put, a dozen breakfasts, or however many. If you're doing it once, you might as well do it. So this was just an easy way of so one way to test your pan is putting your hand over it. How hot is it? Can you hold your hand? So it's warming up. I can feel the heat, but it's not to the point that I want to put my flour tortilla on. I do have my oil that I can tell is all nice and hot. So over here I have our vegetables chopped. I did this before I started the video, so I'm just going to add my vegetables in there and let those start sautéing up. You could just smell it in here. It smells heavenly. Let's check this again. So that is all set. I'm going to put my first, and again, I am saying that I'm not perfect. My flour tortillas aren't perfectly round circles. Sometimes they look like BB-8 from Star Wars. Sometimes they look like, I don't know what they look like, but they're not a circle. So you know what? It's okay. As long as you can get it to look somewhat of a round shape, you're gonna be fine. You know, if you're gonna have this oblong shape, maybe that's not gonna work. You can make an egg roll out of it, but it's not gonna be a burrito. So that is cooking, and my vegetables are cooking. I also have my scrambled eggs here, or eggs to be scrambled, I should say. And let's check this tortilla here. I'm starting to see, let me see if I can bring that in. Can you see the bubbles starting to form? So that's when you know that it is ready to flip. All it takes is a few minutes. So it's quick, bam, bam, bam. I also, because I knew I was doing this, prepped tinfoil. So you could do one of two things, and here we go. This tortilla shell is done. Put my second one on. You can do one of two things. You can wrap it in parchment paper and then in aluminum foil, and with that you can take the aluminum foil off and stick it in the microwave to reheat, or you can wrap it strictly in aluminum foil and stick it in the oven, and that's how we prefer it. I start my oven up first thing in the morning when I wake up, and we have a whole routine because of Tony's condition. We need to check his blood pressure. So he needs to sit for 5 minutes before, I'm just going to add in my eggs. He needs to sit for 5 minutes before we go ahead and do anything for the day. So he sits. I come out here into the kitchen, start up, I'm going to add in my steak, start up the oven, and then I can go back in, take his blood pressure, and let me just flip this here, and let me pull off our second tortilla, turn that one off. I take his blood pressure, and I come back out, stick the burritos in the oven. They take 20 minutes at 350, and then we have the second blood pressure, and then he starts getting ready and I can work in the kitchen. So it's just our routine. He also has to do a daily weight because with the sodium it can retain water, and he can go up, and it has happened before on days that we've splurged, he can go up 3+ pounds. If that happens, he has to take a water pill, a diuretic, to help him not lose that water, and he'll be going to the bathroom all day. And that also, with talking with our doctors, is an important part of things too. You can't just live a strict diet and never have any fun or never have any enjoyment. You have to be able to live. And we were laughing, we were just there a week and a half ago, and they said, well, when did you take your last water pill? And it happened to be that morning, because we did go out for Mexican the night before and splurged too much. But before that, it was the holidays, and before that, I can't even remember when. So all I did was drag my eggs in, and I formed a nice little breakfast burrito. Now this is for 2 people, like I said. So now what I do is I just take my cheese and I scatter it on the top. I already turned my burner off. So I scatter my cheese on the top, and I just let that sit there, because you don't necessarily want to wrap your burritos up while they're steaming hot. So that's gonna sit there. The shells are already made. We're gonna flip back on over here just so I can show you. I have two things to show you over here. One, here's my dough ball. So I have a little bit of flour on the counter. I kind of press it into a circle. And I use my good old rolling pin. And I just keep flipping and watch. Now that I'm on camera, I might even be able to make a nice circle. Maybe. So yeah, this isn't coming out too bad. You want to roll it as thin as you can. So, not too bad. So there's your flour tortilla. I had already made up 2 tortillas. And let me flip this a little bit more. And I already made up, see now this one, that's not really a round shape. That's more of a BB-8. So, just grab my little spatula here. So I already made up a flour tortilla and I already made up some eggs. So all these eggs have cooled. I'm just gonna pile this in the middle. And I'm just gonna roll it up. I don't know if any of you guys are Schitt Creek fans, but our favorite part of that show, one of our favorite parts, there's so many, but is just fold it in. David, I don't know, I don't know how to fold it in, just fold it in. So we always joke about folding it in. So you fold in the ends, and there you go. There's your little breakfast burrito. Now with this, you can serve, you know, your typical guac or salsa or sour cream. I will cut up fresh tomatoes in the morning for it. There you go. I can stick this in the fridge actually for tomorrow. And the other ones I'm going to make, I will stick in the freezer. Like I said, 350 for 20 minutes. That's from fridge to freezer, or from fridge to oven. But I lost my train of thought. I am so glad you joined me today. I am very excited to hear questions and comments, and you know, questions on this recipe or comments on what you want to see next. I do have a couple things. I actually recorded a video on Friday. I didn't have the camera facing towards me, and so I was kind of like this the entire video and you couldn't see me. So that was Friday fish fry. So maybe I'll have to try that again this week. I like having my cameraman, my husband with me to help and navigate. But I think today went okay. I like I said, welcome comments, questions, anything that you want me to explain further. Feel free to email me. Feel free to comment, and I can private message you. I hope you guys have happy cooking days, and we'll talk to you all soon.